If your answer to tell me about yourself feels long, scattered, or awkward, the problem usually is not confidence. It's the structure. A lot of people answer this question by starting too far back, adding too much detail, or saying whatever comes to mind first. And that is why the answer starts drifting. A better answer is much simpler. You need three parts: present, past, and future. Notice the order. That is the structure. Start with where you are now, then give the relevant background. Then connect it to why you're here. That is what makes the answer feel clear. So, let's make this practical. The first part is present. This is where you tell the interviewer who you are professionally right now. Not your whole story, not your life history, just your current professional identity. A good question to ask yourself here is, how would I describe myself professionally in one or two sentences? Another good question is, what do I want them to understand about me first? That matters because the beginning of the answer creates the frame for everything that follows. If you start too wide, the answer gets loose. If you start clearly, the rest of the answer becomes much easier to control. So, in the first part, you want to think about things like your current field, your type of experience, and your core professional focus. For example, I have a background in project management and healthcare systems with experience supporting implementations, workflow improvements, and cross-functional communication. That works because it introduces you professionally right away. It tells the interviewer what lane you're in. That is what the opening should do. Now, the second part is past. This is where you give the relevant background that supports the opening. And that word matters. Relevant. This is not the moment to walk through every job you ever had. They can look at your resume for that. It's the moment to answer this question. What experience best explains why I am a fit for this role? You can also ask yourself, which parts of my background connect most clearly to this job? That helps you stay focused. Because one of the biggest mistakes people make here is turning this part into a resume summary from beginning to end. That usually becomes too long. Instead, choose the parts of your experience that help the interviewer understand your value. What have you done that connects to this role? What kind of responsibilities have you handled? What kind of environment have you worked in? What strengths have shown up repeatedly in your work? That is what belongs in this section. For example, over the years, I've worked in roles that require stakeholder communication, coordination across teams, and support for complex operational workflows. That is strong because it supports the opening without drowning the listener in details. It gives shape to your background. It helps the interviewer understand what you bring. Now, the third part is future. This is where you connect your background to the role you're interviewing for now. This part is very important because it gives the answer direction. Without it, the answer can sound like a summary of your past. With it, the answer sounds purposeful. The question to ask yourself here is, why does this role make sense for me now? You can also ask, what is the natural connection between my background and this opportunity? Or what am I hoping to do next that fits this position? This is the part that helps the interviewer understand motivation and fit. It shows that you are not just describing yourself, you're connecting your experience to the role in front of you. For example, what interested me about this role is the chance to use that experience in a position that is more directly focused on communication, support, and problem solving. That is strong because it brings the answer forward. Now, the interviewer understands who you are, what you've done, and why you're here. That is the goal. So, when you put the three parts together, the answer becomes much easier to control. Present. Who are you professionally now? Past. What relevant experience supports that? Future. Why does this role make sense as your next step? That's a structure. And it works because it keeps you from rambling. A lot of rambling happens because people do not know what belongs in the answer and what does not. So they keep adding extra roles, extra details, history, or extra explanation because silence feels uncomfortable. However, the answer does not need to cover everything. It needs to give the interviewer a clear professional summary. That's all. Another mistake is sounding memorized. You do want structure, but you do not want to sound like you are reciting a script with no flexibility. So, do not try to memorize every word. Memorize the shape: present, past, future. That way your answer stays organized but still sounds natural. It also helps to avoid weak openings. A lot of people begin with things like, well, so, my name is. That actually weakens the first few seconds. Start more cleanly. Go straight into your professional identity. That immediately makes the answer sound stronger. Here is a simple version that I've used. I currently work in healthcare informatics and project-based roles with a background in supporting workflow, communication, and implementation related work. Over time, I've built experience working across teams, managing moving parts, and helping keep projects and operations aligned. What interested me about this opportunity is a chance to bring that experience into a role where clear communication and support are especially important. That works because it's clear, relevant, and easy to follow. It's not too broad, it's not too detailed, it's not too long. So, if you want to improve this answer quickly, tell me about yourself. Focus on 4 things. Start with your current professional identity. Include only relevant background. Connect it to the role. And stop before the answer turns into a full biography. That is how your answer to tell me about yourself lands without rambling. You do not need a long answer. You need a more structured one. And when the structure is clear, this answer sounds more confident automatically.